I will continue with chapter 2, and I will probably end it there.
Guess it's just us.
What did you expect? Even soldiers know not to go near the fal'Cie. You become a fal'Cie and you're finished.
What do you mean, finished?
Haven't you heard, Miss...
Vanille.
Huh?
My name. And yours?
Hope. Thank you. What were we thinking?
Well, since we're here, let's look around. Oh, check this out.
Hey! Vanille, where are you?
Well?
That's,
It's a weapon.
No daydreaming.
And now we're fighting with Hope and Vanille. Vanille has 3 ATB, unlike Lightning and Snow to this point.
Okay, back to exploring.
And she conveniently found her weapon right before this fight. And she does actually have a weapon. It is equipped to her. That thing found in that cutscene is in fact a binding rod. So, stuff, events. We are officially in chapter 2 as seen in the data log. The 13 days, nope, sorry, that's not what's updated. History and myth. This describes the fal'Cie. The beings known as fal'Cie possess the power to enthrall unwilling human instruments, compelling compelling the victims to serve their will. These individuals, known as l'Cie, are marked with indelible brands. They gain the gift of magic, but also bear the burden of completing a task known as a focus for their fal'Cie master. fal'Cie, tools of fal'Cie from the world below, are considered dangerous enemies of Cocoon society, as there exists no means of removing the l'Cie brand and the curse thereby imposed. fal'Cie are hunted relentlessly. And Pulse vestiges. The fal'Cie sculpted Cocoon in antiquity using resources harvested from the world below. When Cocoon's shell was fractured in the war, they repaired it with raw materials again gathered from Pulse, buildings chief among them. Remnants of these structures, termed vestiges, can still be found throughout Cocoon today. The centuries-old vestige outside of Bodum was believed to be nothing more than a harmless curiosity. The discovery of a Pulse fal'Cie inside its walls proved this false, however, leading to the detainment and subsequent purging of countless citizens whose only crime was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, some more general background there. I don't know. Oh, because I have to actually pop that up. General background there, and the explanation on fal'Cie that I had mentioned, that they are indeed magic users. They use the word focus. I don't think that's been seen in the cutscene unless I just missed it. 30 gil, a terribly useless chest. Nothing in the shop can be bought for 30 gil, but hey. Now, something that we can start trying to do, well, I didn't pull that off with this fight, but we can start trying for preemptive strikes, which is basically when you run into an enemy when it's not alert to your presence. We did get a Fortisol from that fight, though, which is something that we haven't seen. We almost got this preempt. Not that it actually helps this fight at all. Here we have 4 potions. And there's dual Pantherons over here. So, enemies have an invisible battle zone. If you run into their battle zone, they get alert to your presence and they start charging at you. If you cross the threshold, they de-aggro and go passive again. In order to get a preemptive strike, you have to strike them when they're not alert to you within their battle zone. Hey, B. Marie, how are you doing?
Well, that wasn't scary at all.
In fact, it describes it here: aggression and preemptive strikes. All enemies guard areas limited by their fields of vision or other means of detection. Upon entering a guarded area, there is a chance that the enemy or enemies patrolling it will take notice. If your trespass is observed, a warning icon will appear over the heads of any enemies alerted to your presence. These foes will then become hostile, taking up defensive positions or rushing forward to attack. If your party leader comes into contact with an enemy, a battle will begin. Battles begin normally if the enemy was aware of the party's presence. If the enemy was caught off guard, however, the party will be able to make a preemptive strike. Certain enemies, like Zwerg Scandroids, have extremely narrow fields of vision and can easily be approached unnoticed. It is always advantageous to do so if possible, as initiating a preemptive strike forces enemies to enter battle with their chain gauges near the staggering threshold. Oh, we didn't get it there.
You're gonna regret this.
In that fight, we got a Deceptisol. We picked up an Iron Bangle there. Hope really should have an Iron Bangle because he has the lowest HP of all the party members in the game. But we do have these things that have not been introduced yet. This is me being OCD as always.
Where is he? Where do we go now?
No daydreaming now. Take that.
Aren't you scared?
Not so much.
You really don't get it.
Pulse, fal'Cie, and fal'Cie are bad news. That's why Cocoon kicked them out. Live too close to the fal'Cie, one-way ticket to Pulse. That's the purge in a nutshell.
If they catch us here, they'll purge us too. And
What's
then...
your problem?
What's my... Pulse is hell on Earth.
We'll be okay. Calm down.
Get off me.
Sarah? Huh? Can you hear me? Where are you?
Don't worry, Sarah. Your hero is on his way. Wonder what that's for.
And new area. Immediately turn around, there's an item. Two potions. There's nothing else in this map other than an enemy. And data log was updated with events. But now we only have Snow in our party. We've lost Godot and Lebreau. This next fight is a good example of why hand grenades are so good, because their fire elemental ability and AoE damage makes this fight much faster than simply doing single attacks.
Nothing to worry about.
If you try to do auto battle, it will try single attacks regardless of who you target, so one of those situations where it's better to go manual than auto battle. Once it's down to 1, you can auto battle because
How about this?
it doesn't matter too much. If you had more HP, hand grenade would be better, but to finish off a fight, it's a little faster to just attack.
Just hold on, Sarah.
Still won't budge? I think the door's winning.
Why didn't I listen?
Beg your pardon?
It was me. This is my fault.
Beg your pardon?
Cover your ears.
Huh? Oh, blast charge? Oh, wait, hold on. All right, hold. All right, go for it! Make it happen!
I'm so sorry. Please let me in. Please?
Hey! What? How'd you open it? After you.
And here we learn about Shrouds. Shrouds are special single-use aerosols that can only be used outside of battle and grant the party tactical advantages. Fortisol and Aegisol bestow their bonuses at the start of battle. Deceptisol, on the other hand, shields the party from enemy detection, eliminating any concerns of being spotted and attacked. It is useful for avoiding combat and also for launching preemptive strikes. Enemies like Pantherons, whose fields of vision allow them to monitor wide areas, normally turn hostile and display warning icons as soon as they are approached. Apply a spray of Deceptisol, however, and you will have no trouble gaining a preemptive strike. Apparently, whoever played, or whoever took this screenshot got 19 Deceptisols and 4 Fortisols, for what it's worth. To open the Shroud menu, press L1 while exploring. Select a Shroud with up and down, and then press X to use it. To close the menu without using a Shroud, press L1 or circle. Shroud effects wear off after a brief duration, so be sure to time their application carefully. So, I'll take a look at the Shrouds in a moment, but first I will run past this enemy group by staring at the ground. Believe it or not, this is a method of dodging certain enemies. We're actually past their battle zone, and they're running past us because the camera confused them. They would normally charge down as you run up, but since we had the camera angled downward, the game got confused. This is in fact their battle zone, and I wonder if I can get the preempt by just running in right now. I can. This is what a preemptive strike looks like. And this is a multi-stagger right here. And again, auto battle is going to focus on single target attacks since we're targeting a staggered enemy, but blitz is so much better. And we're going to have a battle score over 20,000. 20,000 is normally the max, but with the preempt bonus of 1.2 times, we get over 20,000, which serves no purpose, but it's cool to have a higher score. Anyway, we have Shrouds. And since they were formally introduced, we can talk about them a little more. Fortisols cast Bravery, Faith, and Haste at the start of battle. Those are buffs, or status augments, or whatever is the proper word. These are set. We have not been able to inflict these ourselves in the middle of battles, so currently Fortisol is the only way of getting Bravery, Faith, and Haste. And if you're not familiar with those terms from previous Final Fantasy games, Bravery increases your physical attack power, Faith increases your magical attack power, and Haste increases your ATB recovery speed. So since we don't have any magic spells yet, this really means we'll get Bravery and Haste. And Deceptisol, as was noted, makes the party difficult for passing enemies to detect, which will make it easier to dodge enemies in general, but will also allow us to get a preemptive strike much easily in fights. The game sort of wants you to start experimenting with Shrouds at this point, but I'm gonna hoard them. And then we have the events. Oops. And then the primer on Shrouds. So how much is the increase from buffs? And that is an excellent question. If we go back to the Fortisol. Bravery and Faith increase your strength and magic stats by 40%. Haste, I don't remember the exact value. I believe it's 50%. DG just said 50%, so I'm going to say 50%. So, strength and magic by 40%, haste is 50%. Later on, we can see Protect and Shell. They will increase physical and magical resistance, respectively, by 33%. Then there's Veil, which doubles... That's not quite right. I don't exactly remember how Veil works in 13. It halves the power of, or it halves the likelihood of a status debuff from getting inflicted. Vigilance increases your ability to interrupt and avoid interruptions. And then there are end spells and bar spells, which can either provide your physical, or not physical, but non-elemental attacks with elemental attributes, or increases your resistance to those elemental attributes. We haven't gotten to the point where we can use these. So if you don't know anything at all of what I just said, that is fine. I'm getting rather far ahead of myself here. This chapter is pretty all over the place with what party members, or what party, I guess, period, we are controlling. We keep going back and forth between Vanilla Hope and Lightning, Saz, and Snow. We are all within the same general vicinity, but just in different parts of the Pulse Vestige. And there actually are interactions between all of the groups in various ways. In fact, what Snow just did, he activated some sort of mechanism that opened a door for Lightning. The game makes it seem like the door opened because Lightning talked to it, but it actually had more to do with Snow activating a thing. Lude is not practicing, he's doing a let's play. Let's Dolphin. Yes, welcome to Let's Dolphin. With your host, Lude Dolphin. I don't remember if I grabbed the item down here. In the map, you can actually see items you've picked up. And we did pick up that item. Don't think I called it out, but it was a Phoenix Down. This is a Gladius, which is in fact a different lightning weapon. It increases her strength more than the Blazefire Saber does. Moves it from 30 to 40, which is a bit better when all we have are physicals. And if you don't want to fight this group, it is certainly a little bit harder than the other groups thus far. You can sort of run past them. I did not mean to trigger the cutscene, but oh well.
Are still around. Might be some soldiers trapped in here too. Except they'd probably be FF13 by now. Huh? Not even human anymore. Just post-FF13. Enemies of Cocoon. Can't show them any mercy.
There's the next one.
Here we are. Once again, if you turn around, there's an item hiding behind you. This item being 2 potions. The other paths are useless. 13 days, we now have day 11, Discovery. The Bodum Vestige was a minor local landmark paid little regard. That changed on this night when Psycom discovered that the relic's long-sealed entrance had somehow been opened. A reconnaissance team was sent inside, reporting the discovery of a pulse fal'Cie before communications links suddenly went silent. Deeming it probable that the soldiers had been made FF13, the Sanctum then resealed the door to the vestige, trapping the team inside. The following day brought public announcement of both the discovery and plans for the purge. I think that goes a little beyond where we are in the story, but anyway.
Wrapped up and ready.
Another fight where hand grenade is really good. If it hits these rogue scandroids, they die instantly.
Just too easy. All right. Hang on, baby. Your hero's on the way. Hang on, baby. Your hero's on the way.
He is here. Calling himself a hero?
He's coming our way.
What should I do?
Tell him what you need to.
But nothing I say'll change what happened.
We could just run away.
And we're back to Vanilla and Hope. This fight wasn't here previously. And I believe on the other side there's also a mob now. Or maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. I thought there was a mob over there. We'll fight those panthers in a second, but first we'll go up here.
No daydreaming now.
A lot of these fights are rather repetitive. Just the same enemies, but different numbers of them. This chest has a Fortisol, and now we can fight these panthers. Or now I will fight these panthers. I could fight them before, but I just felt like putting it off for a bit. Have I ever accidentally called vanilla? I'm sure at least once that's been accidentally named. I've certainly made a pun based on that some number of times. Hey Yundelis, how are you doing today? And there's an item hiding over here.
You're gonna regret it. I'm tougher than you thought, huh?
Can we take it a little slower?
This item has 100 gil.
What are they?
See, the Seethe failed. This is what happens when the Seethe don't complete the focus the fal'Cie gave them.
Let's even these odds.
These guys are, in fact, weak to fire. As we can see now, they are weak to fire, so a hand grenade is really good.
How did you get in here? You gotta leave. Okay, listen. Find some place to hide and keep quiet. Once I find Sarah, we'll all leave together. You'll be home in time for dinner.
You...
Wait! Who's Sarah?
My wife. Future wife, that is. She's a fal'Cie.
No.
She's here somewhere, along with that fal'Cie. I gotta find her and set her free.
What's wrong with you? Why do you want to help FF13? They're the enemy.
Huh?
How can you save FF13? You're not... That's insane!
Probably. But I gotta do something, right? I'll be back.
Should we wait around for him and hitch a ride?
I'd rather go to Pulse! Why is this happening to me? When they found the fal'Cie the other day, we were just visiting Bodum. But the army took us, threw us on that train. And because of that guy, Mom is...
Probably shouldn't leave them alone.
And he wants to help FF13?
Hey again.
Hey. Let's go with him. You gotta talk to him, Hope. If you don't take this chance, you'll regret it forever.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
What's gotten into you, soldier? Thought you came for a fight.
My sister.
Your sister?
She's a FF13.
What? A fal'Cie?
The fal'Cie has her captive, but I'll find her.
Is she still... Hey, what was her focus? When she became a FF13, what did the fal'Cie order her to do? It wasn't blow up Cocoon or anything like that, was it?
I didn't ask.
Listen to me. When a person gets cursed by a fal'Cie, they become a FF13, and they get given a focus, right? How do I put this? If they don't carry it out, FF13 end up as one of those things. What I'm saying is, if your sister's gone that far, I mean, she might still... How can I... Oh, man. There's no way to turn a FF13 back into a human. Even if she completes her focus, there's no changing her fate. She'll live her life as a fal'Cie slave. Don't make her suffer.
Just say it! Any FF13. Anyone who might ever become a FF13 should be wiped off the face of Cocoon. It's people like you that started the Purge in the first place.
Alright, some pretty heavy story there. Seethe. When a fal'Cie takes a human to be one of its l'Cie servants, that person is given a focus to be completed. Should the l'Cie fail to fulfill this focus before his or her brand advances to its final stage, that l'Cie becomes a Seethe. Mired in eternal sorrow and regret, and robbed of all free will, Seethe are damned to wander the world, unliving and undying, until their corrupted flesh at last can move no more. For Seethe there is no salvation. That's because they can't be medics. Oh, that joke will make sense to some people later on. So Focus is a mission that is entrusted to a l'Cie, because when you are a l'Cie, you are cursed, and you're given magic at the expense of having to complete your mission or focus. And if you don't fulfill your focus in enough time, you turn into a Seethe, and the Seethe is basically a Silent Hill-esque monster. If you do fulfill your focus, you turn into Crystal, which means you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either you turn into a crystal, which is sort of eternal life as a crystal, as opposed to eternal damnation as a Seethe. So becoming a l'Cie is terrible, because not only, like, if you become a Pulse l'Cie, you're a soldier of Pulse, which means you're against Cocoon, which means that the people of Cocoon hate you and want you gone. If you fulfill your mission, you destroy the world and you turn into a Seethe. If you don't fulfill your mission, you turn into a Seethe and you're doomed to be in a Silent Hill game. Pretty sucky. So I'm going to backtrack, which you can actually do here, since I missed this fight previously. Actually, I guess I can't do this fight. There was a fight here. It's gone now.
Hurry up.
Alright, I guess we're not going to fight the Myrmidon and Pantheron fight. This item is a power wristband. Unlike the Iron Bangle, it increases strength, and it can take lightning strength from 40 to 60, and is worth equipping. Seethe are really good at preempting, or at least these ghouls are really easy to preempt. I'm going to become over-leveled once we start getting experience, and so I won't need to rely on speedrun strats for certain bosses. Though that will be more relevant in the later chapters, when there's more freedom of party composition and whatnot. With the preempts, these fights are really easy. But you might not want to preempt and get 5 stars all the time. You've probably noticed we haven't really gotten too many Shrouds. We got 4 Fortisouls and 2 Deceptisouls. If you ever want more Shrouds, here's how you can do it. start a fight. Don't get a preempt. Start a fight. And take a bathroom break. To wipe your ass, press the X button. Make sure your ass is selected by pressing up and down. If you're out of toilet paper, you can buy more from the shop menu. But you'll notice that we got 0 stars in this fight. You also notice we didn't get any Shrouds. This was a terrible example. Let's try that again. Because I'm pretty sure you didn't wipe. Also pretty sure you did not wash your hands. I'm sure some of you went to the bathroom just to urinate and then used the excuse, I don't need to wash my hands because I didn't even touch my, you know, thing. Which is a terrible excuse because really you should wash your hands frequently, and using the bathroom and washing your hands is a good enough time to, you know, wash your hands. And for that matter, if you don't wash your hands after you do business, you're a pretty terrible person. Zero stars, and there's the Shroud. So if you get 0 stars in a fight, you have no chance of getting the rare drop, but your chance of getting a Shroud is multiplied by 8. The chances of getting Shrouds varies as you progress in the game. It actually is in a downward trend. You're most likely to get Shrouds in Chapter 12. The base rate for most fights in Chapter 12 is 12%, or sorry, Chapter 2 is 12%. If you multiply 12 by 8, you get 96%. So getting 0 stars in these fights gives you a 96% chance of getting whatever Shroud. The type of Shroud is fixed to the fight in particular, not the enemy. These individual ghouls here, 3 of them give you Fortisouls, 1 give you Deceptisoul. In fact, the one that I failed to get the drop from does drop a Deceptisoul. But we didn't get lucky. We got the 4% no drop, which is great timing for information purposes. But as I said, you cannot get the rare drop, which for most purposes doesn't really matter. But if you're gonna farm Shrouds, this is the place to do so. You'll never get a tear of frustration unless you cry out of frustration or something. But you'll get more Shrouds. Now, you might think, if you've never seen this game before and you saw me just have Saz win the fight, and you think to yourself the battle system is so terrible because you can literally do nothing and the game will win for you. This is not going to be true for much longer. This is still early stages of the game where you're learning how the overall battle interface works. In particular, if you go into this fight and you press no buttons, you will eventually die. This is in fact a stronger Seethe. It's a ghast. You can see there's more than one type of Seethe. Not everyone turns into a ghoul. This guy turned into a ghast, which makes him stronger and hit harder and more defensive. I don't think there's any new items in the shop, is there? Oh no, we got B&W Outfitters. I don't know when we got that. They sell accessories. Sometimes it's good to check the shop from time to time. This hallway is a really good hallway for farming Shrouds. Don't get a preemptive strike though, because it makes it impossible to get 0 stars in these fights. I'm not going to bother with farming because I don't want to spend time doing that, but if you want, you can get as many Shrouds as you want from here. The only Shroud that you can't get, there are actually 4 different types of Shrouds. We've seen 2 of them, Fortisol and Deceptisol. Age of Souls can't be dropped until Chapter 4. Ether Souls can't be dropped from fights, but they can be picked up in chests. Yes, you can get Ether Souls from dismantling. So before I fight this fight, I'm gonna backtrack a bit. There's 2 reasons for this. First, I'm going to see if perhaps the fight that I accidentally skipped has respawned. Some fights do respawn. This ghast is forever gone for whatever reason. But these ghouls are back, so you can actually farm these again if you wanted to. In fact, all the ghouls are back. But is the Myrmidon and Panther on here? No, it's not. But these guys are back. As are those and those. And these Panthers are gone. So in case you want to fight fights again, you can backtrack. There isn't really much reason to do so yet. You don't get CP. These fights in particular aren't really that good for farming Shrouds off of. The best in terms of like Shrouds per minute would be from the ghouls that we just passed by, but nonetheless, enemies do respawn. And we will probably, well, I don't know if I will, but you can. There was a tweet from January 2012 that asked aloud whether it was possible to speedrun Final Fantasy 13. That tweet has not aged well. Was it even 2012? Was it, or was it 2010? So these guys have all respawned. If it was 2012, then it's a pretty ignorant tweet considering that speedruns had already happened for the past 2 years. In fact, the speedrun guide, I believe, had to have been up in like 2010. The speedrun guide on GameFAQs that we make fun of in this chat. But getting 0 stars there got me that bonus fort. And you can do this to your heart's delight. My heart's not delighted though. In the speedrun, this is one of the harder dodges. And even casually, this is one of the harder fights because 2 ghasts. Holy crap, I'm still playing. You've been missing my Let's Play. And that's game over, because they both did fire at the same time.
Stop now.
However, fortunately, in 13, you just retry. And it's technically game over, but the game lets you reset. Many people think that this is a terrible system because it means deaths have a much lower penalty, but it does mitigate the whole having to go back to a save point and get back here mechanic. You've probably also noticed that there's no HP recovery, or sorry, that there is HP recovery. You automatically get restored to max HP in between fights. And some people view this as a terrible system, considering that older Final Fantasies didn't have that, and you would actually have to go in your inventory and use potions, or manually use a character's cure spell. But in my opinion, it works really well for 13, having your HP restored in between fights, because it makes individual fights much harder. It means individual enemies can be very challenging, as opposed to having to build a dungeon around the gimmick of having to be an endurance session as opposed to a isolated fight thing. So isolated fights in 13 tend to be much more difficult than individual fights of previous games. You'll also notice that there's no MP. As I said, the only stats in the game are HP, strength, and magic. There's no MP, which can be relevant. This is how you do this dodge, by the way. Now, if I fail this dodge from this side, if you retry a dodge, which we haven't even seen, you can actually retry from pausing a fight and hitting retry. But if you retry, it puts you outside of the battle zone from the point where you entered. And as you saw, I retry on the opposite side of the ghasts. They are in fact facing away from me, which makes getting a preempt really easy because all I have to do is run in and hit them. So this is kind of cheating, because this is not how this fight was intended. But we can trivialize this double ghast fight by getting the preempt, getting the early staggers, and blitzing them both. I will try to get full enemy intel, because that is good for OCD. Good for OCD? I don't know if that's the right word, but it will satiate my OCD, I guess. And I will certainly get all the achievements. But yeah, that's, if I jump on this thing, or if you jump on this thing, remember, these ghouls are the best for getting shrouds. If you jump on this elevator, you can't go back. These are the shrouds that will be stuck with you.
Sarah! Time to go. We have to leave before the army. What?
That's a Pulse brand. That girl's a FF13.
I already told you that.
Pulse FF13 are the enemies of Cocoon.
So they should die?
Listen, if she fails her focus, you know how that'll end.
And killing her is a mercy?
You came.
Sarah! Sarah.
Is that my hero?
Let's get you out of here.
Hands off. I'm taking her home.
Sis.
I'm not your sister. You couldn't protect her. It's your fault she...
Save us.
Sarah?
You can
save us. Or protect us all. Save Cocoon. Save Cocoon? Sarah, that was your focus?
Anything. I'll do anything. Leave it to me, you'll see. I'll protect Cocoon. I'll save everyone.
Somehow, I'll make things right.
You just relax.
Thank you. Sarah!
Sarah! Sarah!
Why is she turning to crystal?
L'Cie who fulfill their focus are transformed into crystal and gain eternal life.
Just like the story said.
Sarah, sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams? She's not sleeping! She's...
She's alive.
No.
The legend. Remember the legend. L'Cie who fulfilled their focus turn to crystal and gain eternal life. It's the same with Sarah. Eternal life. She's not dead! Sarah's my bride-to-be. I promise to be hers forever. I don't care how many years I have to wait.
It's over! Open your eyes and face reality!
Sarah, does becoming a l'Cie really mean losing everything?
Wait,
What now?
the army.
The target is almost in place. Surface team, what is your status?
Good to go. Resistance is under control. The assault proceeds as planned.
Leave no trace. The pulse vestige never existed.
Fire!
What's happening?
It must be a sanctum strike. Bring down the vestige and the fal'Cie right with it.
Aren't they taking it back to Pulse? That's what the purge was, right?
All they care about is getting everything from Pulse off Cocoon. Dead or alive, it's all the same.
We can't stay here. They'll kill us.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Trenchcoat, where you going?
Date with the fal'Cie. Got some things to talk about.
What? You gonna ask it to help her? Are you out of your mind, kid? That thing wants to chew us up and spit us out.
Well, what do you want me to do?
What?
Lightning?
Here we go.
Data log updated. Crystal stasis. For FF13, successful completion of a focus holds the promise of eternal life in the peaceful slumber of crystal stasis, or so the legends say. Yet to spend an eternity as an immobile crystal is not so very different from death. The people of Cocoon consequently fear being marked as a FF13, equating the fal'Cie's brand with the death sentence. Faced with only the choice between eternal damnation as a Seethe and eternal imprisonment in crystal, it comes as little surprise that many FF13 decry their fate. Well, we now have 3 people in our party. We have Lightning, Snow, and Saz. And we can gear people up with all the accessories that we've gotten to this point. And we can do whatever preempts we want. That guest did not know what was coming. Here we have a new enemy. A flying Seethe. Called a white. Is that right? No, it's white. And then here we have a fight. I guess we didn't get the preempt this time. I'll focus on the ghast because he hits harder, I believe. Alright. This is the last item of Chapter 2. It is 5 potions. 5 potions? This seems like there's a terrible fight coming up. So, I'm gonna give Saz the power to respond.
So this is the fal'Cie.
Sarah's a crystal now. You gave her a focus, and she did it. You got what you want. Now let her go! Please, turn her back. I'll be your FF13 instead!
Fine. You go on begging. Like this thing gives a damn what we want!
Lightning!
It's this thing's fault the purge started. And it's people who are dying. Sarah told us to save Cocoon. That means this thing needs to die. What?
now. You really think you can kill a fal'Cie?
I'm doing this for Sarah.
Dodge. I'm in. As long as you don't mind an amateur. I got these things. Might as well use them.
Thanks.
So this is how this fight works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you beat Anima. However, this strategy only gives you 3 stars. If you want 5 stars, you actually have to do a fair fight. That said, 5 stars doesn't really mean anything because you will always get Doctor's Code and nothing else. But if you want to have more fun, you can certainly fight him straight on. You just have to be careful that you heal up when people get low on health and stuff.
Where are we?
What's going on?
couldn't see a future, and I was afraid. When the future was clear, and it hurt to see, I'd just close my eyes and lose myself in happier days.
Great spot to watch from.
The whole gang's here tonight.
How'd that happen?
Don't know. Destiny?
More like dumb luck.
Let's go find him.
Excuse me.
See you around.
You know.
No, but I want to.
You just missed her. She said she'd be at the usual place.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. Now, who'd you say you were looking for?
Here goes. Making a wish?
Maybe I was. I was hoping that tomorrow I can tell my sister. She'll be so mad, knowing I hid it from her.
Don't worry. I'll take the blame for you. You know, you should ask for something bigger. These are wish-granting fireworks, like in the stories.
Stories, huh? The Seethe who fulfill their focus, they become crystal and gain eternal life.
Would help if they gave you some clue about what you're supposed to do. We'll figure this thing out. You will never be one of those monsters.
So what will I be? A crystal?
Yesterday at the store, I got us something. I don't know much about jewelry, but I hope you like it. I will stand by you, no matter what happens. I'm yours forever. Sarah. My one, my only. Will you marry me?
Yes.
She said yes! Gotta love these fireworks. They granted my wish.
Your wish?
Before I asked you to marry me, I wished that you would say yes.
Then maybe they'll grant mine, too.
What's that?
To have the courage to tell Lightning that I've become a FF13.
Hey, our engagement is way bigger news. Oh, man, I can't wait to see her face. She'll be my new sister.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hey, Snow?
Yeah. That was close.
Gorgeous. Our own private heaven.
All we need. Just you and me.
Thank you, Snow.
And that wraps up chapter 2. Seeing as how it is now 12:30 in the morning, I am going to wrap this up here. If you found this stream to your liking, be sure to give this channel a follow. If you want to support me, be sure to give Stuckman a subscription. Kappa. But no, I might keep this up in the coming days. For those of you that tuned in late, I'm sort of trying for a let's play that's informative and shit. But thanks for your support tonight. Have a good night, all.